Hi guys, it's Carrie, and today I wanted to build something a little different. Normally I build houses, and today I wanted to build something maybe a little bit outdoorsy, so I went with a public park. I really liked how this turned out, so I wanted to basically put things in that I normally wouldn't do and keep challenging myself to do little builds really fast as usual. So here we go. Here is the public park build 2022. So as always, I start off with an empty lot. This time I went with potted splay just because I wanted it near the riverside, and I kind of knew that it was a really good place because it was long and I really liked the idea of using all the space. I will say I did start off with a pre-build, something I don't do often, but I kind of liked how this little one took like the centre stage for what essentially would be our build. I did make it as much mine as I could. I loved adding all the green because I thought that was just such a really cool way of interpreting like the park colours. I kind of went with the theme and we obviously ran with it. So I did start off with something that wasn't floor level just because I wanted something to sit right in the middle and have like a focus point, and agreed. I just thought green was probably the best option. I like the fact that we went with lower walls this time because I liked the fact that although it was a high point, I wanted to be able to see everything and I didn't want anything to kind of discourage that. I added these trees as like a focal point as well, just like so it wouldn't just be a massive long hedgerow. I wanted there to be like different levels and different textures too, and we kind of went with really earth tones because I don't know, I just felt like I want it to look really natural, and I didn't really want to go too crazy with the colours because that's not me anyway. I did do a lot of texturing for this one. I included lots of hedges, flowers, rocks, trees, just because I figured it was a park, like it was the perfect setting to do so. I like the fact that we we did do these little like the rose bushes and the flower bushes, and kept it kind of like 2 and 2 because obviously I love symmetry and it just worked out really well this way. I will say those benches don't stay there for very long. I couldn't quite figure out what I didn't like about them. I think it was just because it had like super dark wood, and yeah, and it didn't really fit. This originally was a design flaw. I originally meant to put one down, but I didn't actually end up liking the fact that there was 2. It was just something, again, that was a little different, and I realised really fast that that was way too big to be put there, so we kind of just changed it and added it to the middle. Here's where it got kind of tricky. I really wanted a pool or at least a water element, and I kind of realised I made this probably too big. So I thought that it would be worth moving the front piece, and then I just decided it was too much hassle and there was more room at the front, so I did that there. We started off with a big square and quickly realised that that really wasn't going to work because there wasn't enough room to build a bridge over it. As you can see in a minute, I really struggled with it, so we decided to go with something different, which you will see in a minute. As you can see, it definitely took a little bit of work to make this happen. I ended up going with 2 kind of ponds and then making like a deck or like kind of an out frame over the top of it, and I think that worked out really well. Again, I made a little mistake here by putting the walls in when I should have just gone with the deck the first time. As you can see, it didn't really work, but this is what I like about it, is the fact that it was something different and I learned a little bit about like levels and stuff. I did end up going for just a platform in the end, and that worked out so much better. It definitely like stuck to the stairs a little bit, and we were able to really like shape the pool in the way we wanted. Granted, I did go a little far on the right side at the bottom, so if I was to go back and change it, that would be something I built. And of course, safety first, you gotta have railings. And yes, they match the fence because if you know by now, everything has to match, or at least be in the same colour wheel. I did overfill the ponds a fair few times while I was building them because I just wanted to know how far we could kind of take it, but in the end I did like keeping it to this level. I did smush out the right side a bit, too far as you can see there, but again I kind of liked how organic it looked, especially with everything being so regimented and symmetrical. I thought it was a really cool juxtaposition of it. I took a little minute here to think about what I was going to do next. In all honesty, these builds that I do are very much on the fly. It's a quick idea that I have and then I make it. So I did a lot more detailing here. I added in a lot of stonework around the bottom. I really just like the cobblestone and grass effect. It's probably one of my favourites, and I try and include it in most of my builds. I think texture is super important with stuff like this because you don't want it all to look like the same green bit of grass. I did play around with the idea of having a play park or at least a wedding bit, and not a lot fit, so we ended up going with some really cool green monkey bars. And again, I couldn't really fit much more in because I'd gone so big with the main elements, so I thought some benches around the outside would really be cool. I went with stone because I just wanted like a real mix of them, and as you can see I was not happy with those picnic tables at all, so I kind of went with something a bit lighter. And this was a bit funny to me because I couldn't figure out where to put them, so you will see several versions of what it could have looked like, but ultimately I was happy in the end. Yeah, I'm definitely one to play around with angles and where I'd want it and things like that. I didn't end up upgrading the barbecue because I wanted to keep a piece of the original thing left, but I definitely did add in some bird baths. I added in well, I added in some like statues on monoliths and things like that, because I just wanted to add like a little bit like of something to look at while people were in there. Even though in traditional carry sense I didn't build any Sims to go in it. I really love this one from the Vampire Pack. It's one of my favourites, and I wanted to add in just some different kind of benches, but ultimately I went with these brown ones because I don't know, I just kind of liked how they worked well with the colour of the fence and the bench. I added in little tables because I don't know, I just think that every park should have tables, especially for like books or drink bottles or whatever. So I added in a little bit more texturing around the pond because I just didn't want it to look like I just placed it there, you know. I wanted to keep that organic look. And I love the fact that we were able to put in some flowers of all different colours. Actually, I'm really glad I went with more colourful ones, and daisies go everywhere on my builds, if you know me by now. I enjoyed having them in the corners, and of course I always try and put stones in just to kind of give it a bit more of like a natural feel. I did end up putting in some roses and some pink astronauts, and I think some purple ones as well, and because I wanted to go for as much colour and as much nature as I could, while keeping it kind of tidy. So I absolutely love these lamps, by the way. I always try and fit them in a build if I can. I went with having them this way just because they wouldn't fit the other side, and I kind of liked how different it looked. The spotlights were obviously had to be included because I don't know, I just like the fact that they look, you know, kind of professional and kind of, you know, just they don't take up a lot of space, and I just like how they look. I did end up decorating the pond with some lily pads, some lights, some flowers, just because again I wanted to fit in with that natural look. I did place these spotlights pretty much everywhere just because I thought it would add a little something to it, which I'm kind of glad it did. And then the last thing was a little bit more texturing. I wanted it to like have some like really nice flowery grass bits, and of course I had to finish the bridge. I wasn't quite sure where I'd go with that, so I went with the pebbled concrete instead, and I really like how it turned out. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and to comment and subscribe for more, and I will see you all very soon. Stay safe, take care.